Hello, everyone, and welcome to Behind the Bulletin. Tonight, we dive into a story so astonishing, so utterly unexpected, that the entire entertainment world is still struggling to catch its breath. The headline alone has sent shockwaves across every corner of the internet. Unbelievable. Kim Soo-hyun's December bride revealed, and fans can't handle the truth. What lies behind this revelation? Why did this announcement shatter the calm of the winter season? And what secret has suddenly thrown both fans and insiders into disbelief? Stay with us, because what you're about to discover will change everything. Let's begin right now. No one expected December to begin with a tremor powerful enough to shake the entire entertainment industry. Yet that is exactly what happened when the first whispers broke out. It began innocently, an anonymous post at dawn. A single line claiming that Kim Soo-hyun, Korea's most enigmatic leading man, was preparing for a secret winter wedding. Most dismissed it as another baseless rumor. The kind that resurfaces every time he appears in a new drama. Every time he shares accidental chemistry with a co-star. But something felt different this time. The tone was colder, heavier. Like a warning of the storm that was about to unleash. Within hours, the rumor transformed into a frenzy. Paparazzi photos surfaced, showing Soo-hyun exiting a boutique hotel near Cheongdam late at night, wearing a hat pulled low and a mask that failed to hide his tense expression. Reporters spotted him again the following evening entering a private jewelry studio known only for crafting engagement pieces for high-profile elites. The images were grainy but unmistakable, and suddenly the rumor had teeth. Fans flooded social media, demanding answers, begging for reassurance, refusing to believe that their beloved star could be preparing for a life-changing announcement without a single hint. But the silence from his agency was deafening. And silence often speaks louder than truth. The energy around him shifted as December 3rd approached. His schedule, usually packed with public appearances, was abruptly wiped clean. The promotional team for his upcoming film quietly postponed interviews. Staff members avoided eye contact with reporters. Rumors thickened like fog, that his bride was a Jebel heiress. That she was a foreign celebrity. That she was someone he had secretly dated for years. Every claim contradicted the last. And confusion only fueled the phenomenon. By the third day, hashtags about his mysterious December bride dominated search rankings across Korea, Japan, China, Vietnam, and beyond. It felt like the entire continent was waiting, holding its breath, gripping its screens. The turning point came on a cold winter evening when a black van pulled up in front of a secluded Hanok-style event hall tucked behind Bukchon. Only a handful of people were present. But one passerby noticed something strange, a team of decorators carrying traditional wedding ornaments inside. Lanterns flickered against the snowy backdrop, outlining silhouettes moving with careful urgency. And then, behind tinted windows, someone glimpsed a familiar outline of Kim Soo-hyun himself. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't hiding. He was simply standing there in the dim light at the venue as if confronting a truth he could no longer delay. The first shock landed the next morning when dispatch-style photos leaked online. Soo-hyun was captured entering a private rehearsal room accompanied by two older individuals believed to be respected elders within his family. Them held a small velvet box, the kind used only for ceremonial rings. The internet exploded instantly. Servers temporarily crashing as millions tried to access the images simultaneously. Fans were torn between disbelief and heartbreak. Some insisted the photos were fabricated. Others felt betrayed. Many simply cried, able to process that their longtime favorite might be steps away from publicly acknowledging a relationship he had guarded with almost impenetrable secrecy. Still, the biggest shock had yet to come. That same afternoon, a mysterious woman appeared beside Soo-hyun for the first time. Her face was hidden beneath a thick scarf. But her posture radiated discomfort, tension, and something heartbreakingly fragile. She walked slightly behind him, never raising her head, as if she feared the weight of every camera aimed her way. Startled everyone wasn't her presence. Rumors of a bride were already circulating non-stop, but the way Soo-hyun's hand hovered near hers, never fully touching, yet never retreating either. It was a gesture both protective and conflicted. Someone trapped between duty and emotion. Speculation erupted like wildfire. Who was she? Why did she never show her face? Why did Soo-hyun look so exhausted? His expression burdened rather than joyful? People began to wonder. Whether this marriage was truly the romantic secret many fans had fantasized about, or something far more complicated, far more shocking. Something that would make the entire nation question everything they thought they knew about him. And then, as midnight approached, rumors spread from industry insiders. The bride was not a celebrity, not an heiress, not a long-time girlfriend. Was someone connected to an incident from Soo-hyun's past, an incident long buried, rarely discussed, intentionally erased from the public eye. A woman whose identity could unravel years of carefully built silence if revealed. Fans begged the agency to deny it. They begged Soo-hyun to speak. They begged for anything that could stop the spiral of fear and curiosity consuming the internet. But no clarification came. No statement. No explanation. Just an eerie, suffocating quiet as the wedding date drew closer. Morning of December 10th arrived with a silence so unnerving that fans described it as the calm before a national disaster. News outlets prepared emergency broadcasts. Online communities refreshed every second. Journalists camped outside every location rumored to be connected to the secret ceremony. Even the cold winter air felt charged, as though the truth itself was pacing behind a locked door, waiting for the perfect moment to detonate. At precisely 9:42 a.m., that door finally opened. A black sedan rolled into the courtyard of a secluded mountainside villa in Pyeongchang. It was a place used only for the most private of gatherings, birthdays of ministers, business dynasty negotiations, reconciliations. Today, however, it was guarded by security teams thicker than those of a presidential summit. The vehicles that followed carried floral arrangements, ceremonial attire, and discreetly dressed guests whose identities were hidden behind tinted glasses and overcoats pulled high. But the final car was the one that sent reporters scrambling. Kim Soo-hyun stepped out. His face was pale, more strained than ever before, as though he had not slept for days. His hands were trembling slightly, just enough for cameras to notice, and his gaze shifted not toward the reporters, not toward the building, but toward the car behind him, the car that concealed the one person everyone was desperate to see. When the door opened, active gasp rippled across the world. The bride emerged, glamorous, not decorated in designer attire, not a public figure. She was silent, fragile, and visibly overwhelmed. This remained partially hidden behind a soft veil. Yet even through the thin fabric, one could sense the truth that would soon shatter the internet. This was not the radiant romantic partner fans had long imagined. This was a woman burdened by a history that connected her to Soo-hyun in ways far more complicated than love. And then the real shock arrived. Former staff member, who once worked closely with the actor during an early stage of his career, broke the silence in a sudden live stream that drew millions within minutes. With a trembling voice, revealed what no one saw coming. The bride was someone from Soo-hyun's past, someone he had met long before his fame reached its peak. She was involved in a private incident that happened nearly a decade ago. An incident that was quietly handled, sealed, buried under non-disclosure agreements. That moment, once considered resolved and forgotten, unexpectedly resurfaced this year when the woman reached out again, not with demands, but with a confession. Was sick. Not terminal, but serious enough that her life had drastically changed. She told the agency she did not want compensation, publicity, or scandal. She only wished to settle the unresolved thread of their past, something neither of them had fully confronted. What began as a single conversation evolved into a series of meetings. An interdecision that stunned even those closest to the actor. Soo-hyun chose to take responsibility in the most absolute way, offering to stand by her publicly, if it meant risking everything he had built. The revelation detonated across social media. Some fans broke down, unable to accept such a painful, unexpected twist. Praised him for his sincerity, his willingness to face consequences long buried. But the majority were simply stunned, speechless, struggling to process a reality that felt stranger than any drama he had ever starred in. Back at the villa, as snowfall thickened and cameras flashed relentlessly through the trees, Soo-hyun and the bride walked toward the ceremonial hall. He did not smile. She did not raise her head. There was something deeply human in the way he stepped half a pace ahead, shielding her from reporters, absorbing the roar of attention so she wouldn't have to hide, away from the world's eyes. They exchanged quiet vows, vows not born from cinematic romance, but from a bond forged through regret, responsibility, and a truth too heavy to hide any longer. The ceremony ended. A single photo leaked from a distance. Soo-hyun was holding her hand. Not tightly. Not affectionately. But with a steadiness that said everything. This was his choice, his path. His truth, no matter how unbelievable. No matter how shocking. No matter how the world reacted. And just like that, in the span of one winter morning, a decade-old secret reshaped the fate of one of Korea's most beloved stars. Fans didn't know whether to grieve, applaud, or simply stand frozen in disbelief. The truth was too complex, too raw, too real. One thing, however, was undeniable. December would never be remembered the same way again. In the end, the story of Kim Soo-hyun's December bride became something far bigger than a celebrity revelation. It was a reminder that even the brightest stars carry shadows the world never sees. Behind the flawless image, behind the crafted perfection, there are choices made in silence, wounds kept hidden, and responsibilities that cannot be escaped. His unexpected winter wedding was not a fairy tale, nor a scandal, it was a turning point. A moment in which he chose truth over reputation, reality over illusion. And for many, that alone was more shocking than any rumor that came before. As the news settled and the world slowly exhaled, fans found themselves confronting a new kind of respect, a kind of heartbreak, a new kind of understanding. Love, duty, regret. Everything collided in one unforgettable December morning, leaving behind a story no one will ever forget. Thank you for reading this emotional journey with us. Thank you for staying until the very last line. And thank you for continuing to follow Behind the Bulletin, where we uncover the stories behind the spotlight, raw, real, and impossible to look away from. See you in the next story.